Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the EA Global Summit 2020. This is Nizam from the organizing team. And with us today, we have the team from Liba, Philip Kalenda, who is the IT consultant and software developer, and Daniel is the business development guide. And they're going to present on LemonTree, modeling based on feature branches. So they are the experts with LemonTree, and they have deep insights on how to do the branches and do a versioning and merge enterprise architecture repository. So this session is going to be really useful for a number of questions that we've been seeing in the Teams channel regarding versioning and maintaining different versions of models. We look forward to this session. And just a quick note before I request the presenters to start. For any questions, please use the Teams channel, the link for which will be shared in the chat window during the session. And if you have any difficulties accessing the channel, please do feel free to drop us a note and we'll try to resolve it. We've been seeing some really exciting discussions going on and a lot of information being shared in it. All the associated materials for this presentation will also be available in the Teams channel. So please do join us at in the Teams channel. So with that said, we welcome once again Daniel and Philip for this session. And over to you, Daniel.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Daniel Siegel, and together I will present with Philip Kalenda. We choose to do it, the two of us, so you have a real impression how it will work in the real world to collaborate with Enterprise Architect and LemonTree. LemonTree, maybe you have seen our colors. It's this yellow bright lemon symbol. Currently, our office is in Vienna, but Philip and I are spread out on the countryside, just south of Vienna, and we are doing this session today from our home offices. This is LemonTree with Enterprise Architect. When we started out, our target was always companies that build cyber physical systems that are safety relevant. But more and more, we see that modelers from other domains like banks or insurances are also using LemonTree, maybe in different variations of the use case or the process they support, but generally we see adoption now also outside of the cyber physical systems. And several thousand people are using LemonTree already, so it's been an exciting trip for us. This is a statement from one of our classical customers that has to work with safety critical norms, in this case the IEC 61508. And basically what he says is that you need strong version control for your models in order to be able to fulfill what the norms request from the engineers. For your information, we also have this slide where you can read parts of the norm that are these pointers that this customer told us and why he needs LemonTree and why it's an integral part of their strategy to work with the safety critical norms. The same applies for ISO 26222 from the automotive context. And very interestingly, more and more people are affected by cybersecurity norms, and the guys that develop those norms are heavily influenced by the safety critical norms. So we see safety and security becoming a similar discipline for modeling. For LemonTree and Git, we even provide a guide, an ISO 26222 software tool evaluation report that helps our customers to do the certification, the auditing better than they could do on their own. Why is the versioning of models more complex than source code files? The beauty of the models we build is that we can connect various information bits and we create a network of data, and this data is a graph. And this is exactly why it's more difficult to merge, because the graph is a more complex data structure than a typical source code file. Have you ever tried to merge XML files exported from Enterprise Architect with a text-based tool? It's basically impossible. Even the biggest OMG nerds refuse to take on this task. It's really, really cumbersome. And on the other hand, people want to work with an optimistic approach today. With XML files, you can only do a pessimistic approach because merging is so hard, but people really want to check in whenever they want. And should a conflict arise, you have to merge the changes, like this version 3 on this chart. For this merging, you need a strong tool that supports the process to be able to do that. If you want to use Git, it's always optimistic. There is no pessimistic version control in Git. So basically, again, you need a strong different merge tool. This is currently a real USB for Enterprise Architect based tool chains, is that together with LemonTree, Enterprise Architect is the only commercial modeling platform out there that can work with Git. So this is a really cool thing. If you are in trouble and people want other modeling tools, this is something that you can keep in mind. On the other hand, we have more and more people that want to work with branching, either because they do a feature branched or Git flow approach, or because they develop a platform solution, or they have customer branches, or they do something like variants with branches, just like in software. And the beauty is, if you have the strategy for your source code, you can now use the same strategy for the model to go with the source code, and it's much easier to relate model to code or to other development artifacts you might have. And there is also, some people have very long running branches. For example, we have a bank customer that has branches or releases, as they call them, that sometimes run for three months. Other people will have feature branches that last somewhere between 2 hours and 2 days. So there is a lot of different scenarios, but the problems are always the same. So this slide is like the executive summary of what you can achieve when you use LemonTree together with Enterprise Architect. One is different merge, full three-way. This is important in software. It's normal, but you need the three-way different merge to be able to find out all the differences and what was new and what was deleted and what was renamed. You can do model versioning. You can integrate it in various version control systems. The most popular are Git, Subversion, and PTC. So even we have PTC version control users that do feature branching and stuff like that. And from the business value, you buy a different merge tool, but the big business benefit you get is that you can now branch your models and work in parallel and do better reviews, because you have good triggers in the process when you review changes done by a user. A typical process can be that you have a feature branch, and once it's merged into the develop or trunk, you have a peer review to make sure the model changes are in sync with your goals and with your guidelines. This is the LemonTree UI. So you see typical 3-column different merge type thing, but it's very aware of the data structures behind Enterprise Architect, and it even can show diagrams. I will not go into detail. We will look at it in the tool. So now let's start with the demo. 1 second. I close PowerPoint to be on the safe side. So the first demo is something that can be really hard when you use models and you get challenged who changed what when. And this is now a subversion example. We show various version control systems today just to show you that there is many options. I can show the history of my model, and I will see that my colleague Mr. Brunflicker changed my model almost 1 year ago. And I want to exactly see what he changed from my last point at that time. And I click compare revisions. The version control tool gets the latest files from the version control server, and LemonTree opens up and will display a diff of this model. There will be a little inconsistency warning, but that's also part of the game. And now we can have, we see, okay, he's changed my state machine. I can click on the state machine. The diagrams get rendered. And I can immediately see there is something orange and green going on. Orange means changed, green means new, and I can click on the elements and check out what's going on. It's also highlighted on top in the project browser, and I can also look at properties. So if I click on the properties, there might be not a lot of changes in this case, but I can see what changed in the properties. Okay, this was the first LemonTree demo. The second one, I already loaded a second instance of LemonTree. And in this case, I want to show you our diagram merge capabilities. I have an activity diagram, and maybe you can see immediately there was a shutdown state introduced, and I choose not to have it, but in the merge, in the automatic merge, the shutdown is included. So what I can do, I can click on the shutdown and then say, okay, I want to take the option from B without the shutdown activity. I click on the activity, it's gone from the merge result, and I can click on the connector and choose to bring it over, and I have a real-time rendering of the diagram changes that are happening. We cannot move stuff around. This is not meant to be a diagram editor. It's just a visual way how to modify diagrams. What I missed in my earlier demo, I wanted to show you how we integrate with various other tools, because you can integrate LemonTree with a host of tools. Most of these version control systems have the option to define custom different merge tools, and that's what we do. For .eap and .eapx, we register LemonTree as the custom different merge tool, and many of the things we show you today are automatic from then on, because the version control tools know how to use it. Because we know for some users it's really hard to do version control tools, and they say, oh no, I'm not a software engineer and all this stuff. We put a simple version control mechanism as LemonTree add-in directly into Enterprise Architect for Git, and I can now pull the model, and it will get the latest model from my remote Git repository, in this case GitHub, and I can switch a branch from here. It's always interesting.
It's the second one, it's EA Global Summit. This is the one I created. Yes, this one.
Okay, so you can see it helps if you talk with your colleagues that create the branches. I can switch to this branch, and the demo we prepared is pretty simple. We go to the requirements diagram. I say, oh my God, this looks not nice. And we go to layout, diagram layout, and I do a simple automatic box layout. Then I go in here and say, this needs to be changed. I hate how this looks. Might be expensive to build. And I make it bold to create it a bit more interesting. And we will create a node on this diagram also to also show a new element. Yes. The node goes, link the node to an element. So I'm basically done with the job Philip gave me. I had to review this and work on the layout of the diagram, which I destroyed after that. So what I can do now is with our LemonTree add-in, I can directly commit and push it in one go. I can say, this is my comments, and it's again pushed into Git, and my job is basically done. And now Philip will take over and show you how the workflow continues in a different office.
Okay, thanks, Daniel. Also from my side, hello to everyone around the globe. It's cool to be part of this global event, so thanks for that. I hope everyone can see my screen. Daniel, is it working? Can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Great, thanks. Okay, so yeah, Daniel already changed something in the model, and as we are working with feature branches, we can basically work in parallel on the model. So in the first moment, I don't have to care about the changes that Daniel did. So as Daniel already mentioned, we are working with an optimistic approach. So I'm optimistic that I can change the model here. So I'm just gonna change according to the task which was assigned to me. So I'm also in the same team with Daniel. I care about the requirements. So here also for the first requirement, I want to change the nodes because I don't like that it is all in one line. And I also add some note, some hint, please estimate it accordingly. And I will also reformat this here. Okay, so basically that's my change. I will continue by committing and pushing this to the server. And I'm working here a bit different than Daniel, using a different Git client called SmartGit. And basically to show also the capabilities of LemonTree, that it's also working with various other tools for Git or SVN, for example. And it's the same mechanism as Daniel mentioned. It's in the configuration, it's by the file extension. So SmartGit knows if it is dealing with EAP or EAPX files, it should call LemonTree for help. So it can help by different merging the files from Enterprise Architect. So now I have here a change. I just commit my version of the EAP file. So I changed the nodes of the requirement 1. I will push this. So, and yeah, as I said, I was optimistic to push this to the server, but obviously there is a conflict because Daniel was quicker than me. He was quicker to finish his commit and pushed it to the server. And now I'm not having the latest version. So what I have to do is to integrate Daniel's version into my version in order to have a consistent state. So I will integrate the version from the server and merge it with my local version, so with my changes that are recently committed. So, and this is the effect if we are dealing with binary files. In this case, for example, EAP or EAPX files. To be precise, these are Access database files. So SmartGit is not able to handle those because usually it is working with text files, so code files, and so it doesn't know what to do with those binary files. So it is marked as conflicted, and that's why we have the configuration to use LemonTree in this case, because now to resolve this file conflict, I can call LemonTree in order to merge these files, because LemonTree knows how to deal with the EA models. So LemonTree will now load the models. Also, it will get the versions from the version control system, in our case Git, and it will try to merge the files automatically. And this is an important fact to mention, because LemonTree always tries to automatically merge the models. So it has specific internal rule set how to overtake changes between two versions, and it always tries to do this automatically. And in this case, because now LemonTree is coming into view, I have a conflict in my file. So a conflict also on element level, where I have to intervene and to choose what to overtake, because LemonTree cannot judge this, and I have to do a manual merge of these two versions. So we can see we have one conflicted element. In our case, obviously, the element which Daniel and I touched. So when I click on this element, it will jump directly to the element in the project browser. And when I open the properties, I can see what has changed. You know, it's the nodes here. So we can see what Daniel changed. This is the node here, and also my change. So in this case, I'm happy with the decision from LemonTree, because LemonTree is taking over my change. So I'm happy with that. I will do this as the automatic merge here. And another change what Daniel did, which is a bit interfering with my version, because here we can see the diagram. In my version, I have this kind of ugly view, and Daniel on one hand used the auto layout feature, so it's much more organized, and also he added this new node element, which is highlighted with a green border, so I can see that this element is was added. So, and basically this is what LemonTree then merges. So it uses, in the case of the conflict, it uses my version, which I'm totally fine. If I would want to overtake Daniel's version, I could take the change of his element with this arrow button here. But in this case, I'm fine. I'm starting the merge, and LemonTree will write the new EAP version based on everything which is presented here in this third column called the merge preview. So this is the view, the model which will be created on merge. So writing is completed. I can close LemonTree, and if I head back to SmartGit, I'm just doing the necessary steps in order to finish all the conflict handling stuff. This might vary a bit between the versioning tools, so I don't want to go into detail about that, because it's not about the Git tools, it's about the LemonTree. So if you're interested in that, you can also contact us about how to deal with Git flow and the various Git versioning tools. So, but let's focus today on the LemonTree stuff. So I'm finished the merge with Daniel's version. So now I have a version where Daniel's change and my change are merged together. And now, because I'm in a feature branch, so I'm not working on the main branch, which is mostly called develop, I want to combine the changes for me and Daniel and merge this back to the develop branch, because on the develop branch are only the finished features which are integrated back. So again, some necessary steps in order to work according to the Git workflow, which is called Git flow. So, and now I will try to integrate with the version from the develop.
We have another recording of a webinar online where we go into more detail on this Git flow process, on the full Git flow process.
Yep. Correct. So, and again, because I was working with Daniel on the feature branch, and now I'm trying to integrate it back to the develop branch. Of course, it could happen that on the develop branch there was additional work done. So another team worked on a different feature branch, and they were quicker in finishing their feature. So they integrated it back before Daniel and I did. So again, I have a conflict here because I was optimistic, and again I have to resolve this conflict. And yeah, just as before, SmartGit is not able to do this. I will just simply double-click the EAP file, and now LemonTree is again loading the files. And as I said before, it tries to automatically merge the models. And in this case, because the colleague which changed this part, you can see here is a commit called edit new model part. So he's from a team who works on a completely different part of the model. He even introduced this part recently. So he is not going to touch my part of the model, which Daniel and me changed. So what you can see now, this is the, I would say, most common case that when you are organized in teams and you have a workflow based on like feature branches and issues and change requests, which are working on different parts of the models, then the changes are not interfering. And in this case, LemonTree will be able to merge it automatically. So this is only the step to resolve the issue of the binary files. And this is what happened here exactly, that LemonTree was able to merge the models automatically. So I don't have to care about the merging in the LemonTree UI. So I can just simply finish the merge, and again, the necessary steps in order to finish the rebase process in the tool. And now if I push this, I successfully reintegrated my feature branch back into develop. And as you've seen, I only used LemonTree with the UI once because I had a real conflict on element level. But most of the times, LemonTree is doing all the stuff in the background, and you don't have to care about the UI and the merging of the conflict too much. So that's basically it for integrating the feature branch back to the develop branch and how you do this with LemonTree. And since I push this now to the develop, it's back to you, Daniel.
Thank you. Can you give me control? Yes.
Yes, should be on your
Basically,
side.
we have been talking about version control really much. I also want to stress that you can use LemonTree without any version control integration. If you just have EAP files on your computer, you can use LemonTree standalone, and you can configure 2 or 3 EAP files and use use LemonTree to compare them, just to make this very clear. We go back now to the Git example, and I will pull the latest version. So I have it on my computer, and we will switch it to a branch. Switch to the develop branch. And so I have the most recent version now on my computer, and this should be okay.
Could you then, can you please check in the log of the Git that we can see the integrated commit?
You can see it, yeah. There is still a conflict, but I don't care now for my
Okay.
part of the story. So what we did, we also host the same model on a Pro Cloud server, and we publish it at certain development stages. So other people in the organization that do not care for version control and so on can also work on the model. So this is now the model in the Pro Cloud instance. It's the old one that we had before we changed anything. So basically the same model, you know, and it's hosted in this LTB cloud, repository on a Pro Cloud server. Now we have a second version of LemonTree that is called LemonTree Web and can be hosted on a server next to a SQL Server database. And what I can do now is I can choose my connection, my cloud connection, and I can upload an EAP file from the version control environment. And what I can do now is I can merge the SQL Server repository hosted in Pro Cloud with the EAP file from Git. And this is very handy because if your users on the centralized database make changes, you can decide which of the changes you want to bring over to the model managed by the engineers. And on the other hand, you can very easily republish the latest released state from the Git environment, and we can see all the changes that happen to the model in a very easy way, the same way you have seen with the version control system. And I think this is a very powerful scenario, especially if you either only work with cloud repositories that have longer releases and you need to bring stuff over, or if you use a combination of having models in version control, but also in database systems and published via Pro Cloud Server or Pro Library. Okay. So back to PowerPoint and to the slides. I had to close it because my computer sometimes is a little bit funny. So what we showed you today is the bigger example was Enterprise Architect with a Git flow, feature branch based workflow, and our LemonTree solution. This enhanced process that is in sync with your software and source code is a very clever way how you can do the configuration management for models. You can do long-term parallel development. You can have variants, versions. You can do all sorts of things with these basic technologies that we showed today. And yes, it's all about reuse of and not reinventing complex. We never wanted to reinvent how you manage versions. We just use the tools that people are used to or know. And with this application, it provides support for functional safety critical norms that are very important in automotive and other domains like the ISO 2022. LemonTree is an established commercial three-way different merge tool for enterprise architect models, and the changes in the source models and merge results can be visualized very clearly and in a way that is understandable for enterprise architect users. Our key takeaway for today's session, for us, this combination of version control and published released models is the state of the art of team collaboration with modeling. You have consistent development states, the development risks are reduced, and you have very good triggers for peer reviews and very clear points in the process where you can engage experts to review what happened and make sure your model quality stays high. Call to action, LemonTree is free to trial. You can download it today. If you want to use it together with TortoireGit, it's a good idea to install that first. The repository is on GitHub, and you can clone it from there if you want to play with our data. And you're very welcome to contact us for an online meeting if you need more details. So we try to make this very compact, so we have some time for questions. Nizam, do you have some questions that we should take?
Thank you very much for the wonderful session, Daniel. There's quite a number of questions. Like, your session was quite thought-provoking, and there's a lot of questions. You know, it's good if we could make yourself available for some time to answer these in detail. But what I'll do, I'll quickly share the screen. So you could look at a few questions and see if you can, answer a few questions for now, because these are quite detailed and technical questions. I don't want to miss any details as I read it out. So I'm just going to share my screen. Give me a moment, please.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the Teams channel where there's like, you're getting quite a few questions and I've tagged you accordingly. It's up to you where you want to start. So I'll start from the first question. So do you always have to check in or check out the complete model, or can you apply version control to specific package, please?
Our current solution, yes, but we are heavily working on a solution that will allow to slice the model into components that can be reused and versioned independently.
Okay, great. And this question from Lennon, which is, does it also work when a SQL database is used instead of EAP? If yes, how?
I showed that we support SQL databases with LemonTree Web as of today. The merging with a centralized database is a little bit a more complex topic. Technically, yes, the process is a little bit different. I'm more than happy to arrange a meeting to discuss the details.
Okay, so that I would like to have a follow-up question on that. So that we'll be working on Prolaborate integration at that time as well.
Yes, yes, you can use it with together with Prolaborate because that's what I showed today. I had a SQL repository behind ProCloud Server and was diffing it against an EAP file. I can also diff two ProCloud repositories. This is a typical scenario in software development in banks when they have releases and they make copy the model for each release, and then they want to combine the releases again or find out what's different and so on. So this is a scenario we know from the banking world, not so much from the cyber safety relevant companies.
Okay. So the next question, as you can see, we have EA projects with millions of entities stored in databases. Can we apply LemonTree versioning in our projects stored in DB? So almost similar questions. Like I think it needs a detailed discussion. Like you please join the Teams channel and you can provide more insights.
Yes, we can.
There's quite a few questions coming up.
Very good.
Okay, so we invite you all to join the Teams channel where I request Daniel and Philip to be available and share their views. But from the entire summit team, we thank you both for taking time to do this wonderful presentation. It was quite insightful. You could see with the number of discussions already coming up. And thank you everyone for joining the session and making it special. So thanks once again. We'll continue our discussions in the Teams channel.
Okay, bye-bye. See you soon.
Okay, thanks for everything. Bye-bye.